Hello and welcome to the Brofest Guide to Anthem. My name's Gaz and I'll be talking you through the Interceptor, so let's get started. So I've only really hit level 30 in the past few weeks, and with that in mind I've only picked up a couple of masterworks, and you can see my power level's only at 463, which in the grand scheme of things isn't particularly high. It's maybe only about halfway towards the maximum. But in the early stages, it's just about making use of whatever masterworks drop for you and making your build around that, which is exactly what I've done. So with that in mind, let's have a look at our weapons. So the only masterwork weapon I have for the Interceptor is the Papa Pump masterwork shotgun. Ideally, I would want something a bit faster firing, like an assault rifle or a machine pistol. However, I want to make use of what I've got here, so that's why I've got the shotgun on, which is still very effective. So every time I reload, it increases my damage by 100% for 15 seconds, and it stacks to 2, which means if I fire once and reload, then I get 100% more damage, and if I reload again, I get 100% more damage on top of that, which is very effective at close range. And when things do go wrong and I have to withdraw to a distance, I tend to favour the sniper rifle, and the Whirlwind is by far the best sniper rifle that I've found at the minute. It's a rapid fire sniper rifle, which means it can dish out quite a lot of damage very quickly, and it's very effective. Moving on from that, our assault system, I use Venom Bomb, which coats an area in acid for 5 seconds, and all the enemies in there, if they're coated in acid, they'll take more damage, but they're also primed for a combo, which is very good. And then our strike system, which will detonate our combo, I tend to use Tempest Strike, which is a powerful melee kick that basically will detonate a combo in a blast. It'll also give you an aura, which is unique to the Interceptor. Every time I detonate a combo, I get an aura of that combo. So it's normally acid, and it means I can spread the effect as well to nearby enemies, which is very effective. Between Venom Bomb and Tempest Strike, you can see they've only got a 7-second recharge, which means you don't have to wait long before you can use it again. And it means you can keep priming and detonating enemies quite quickly. Some of the other ones here you can see, like Venom Spray is quite good, but it takes a bit longer to recharge. And again, let me see. With Detonating Strike, there's a 12-second recharge as opposed to a 7-second recharge in Tempest Strike, which just means you're waiting a bit longer, which I prefer to use Tempest Strike, again, just for the quicker recharge. It means you can use it more often. Very effective. Moving on to that is our support system. You've only really got between Rally Cry and Target Beacon. Target Beacon's good if you want to deal extra damage to a boss that you're maybe struggling with. However, I tend to favour Rally Cry just in terms of survivability. It breaks you and allies free of all status effects. So anything that's like whenever you're burning, or you're covered in acid, or you're frozen, you hit Rally Cry and it immediately gets rid of everything between you and your allies. It's come in very handy for me on several occasions, so that's why I tend to prefer it over Target Beacon at the minute. Let's have a look at our components. Our first two are simple defensive components. There's the shield reinforcement and the armor reinforcement. As an Interceptor, we don't have a lot of health and defense, so we can get hit very easily by enemies that can one-shot us. So I tend to like to have more of like an increase in your shields and your armor just for survivability. The only masterwork component I have is Way of Integration, which increases our acid damage and oxygen capacity by 20%. We're not really too bothered about the oxygen, but the acid damage, because we're using Venom Bomb, is very good, and it also increases our acid resistance by 20%. The gear hit streak, whenever I get 2 hit streaks, it increases all of my damage by 30% for 10 seconds. So that means if I basically using my melee attacks and I'm hitting combos, once I get 2 of those, I'll get a 30% damage increase for 10 seconds. So it's very handy. The other ones I'm using is Battle Inscription, which is a weapon damage increase by 25%, a Blade Inscription, which increases my melee damage by 10%, and an Interceptor Combo Augment, which increases my aura frequency by 40%. I'll explain a bit more about auras in a second. But with that in mind, that's the build that I tend to use. It's the most fun for me, so let's hop into free play so we can see it in action. Okay folks, I'm just going to jump into some free play here and talk you through some of the Interceptor movements. So we'll look at our weapons first of all. As I was saying about the Papa Pump, you're going to see whenever I fire that, it's just doing normal damage. Okay? So whenever I reload, on the left hand side you'll see something that says Closer's Havoc and ×2. So that means now I'm doing double the damage I was doing before, or actually triple because it's 2 stacks on top of it. And every time you reload, that should refresh. So just keep that going. And then whenever it goes wrong, you can switch to your sniper. And it's a rapid fire sniper rifle with a lot of damage very quickly. Very, very handy. Okay. In terms of our gear here, we have Venom Bomb, and that's our area coated in acid. And then our Tempest Strike will detonate that. For the Interceptor, you have a constant stream of melee attack, which all you have to do now, since the last patch, is hold your finger down and triangle, and your melee will just keep going. Very handy. And then your rally cry is simply, when things go wrong and you have a status effect on you, hit that and it'll get rid of it. So any acid, freezing or burning, even webs, your rally cry can get rid of them. So what I really want to show you at the minute is the movement for the Interceptor. So the other javelins have access to a double jump, and the Interceptor has an access to a triple jump. So, and as well as dodging, most of the other javelins have 1 dodge, and the Interceptor has 3, which could be chained in different directions as well, for example. Okay, so whenever you combine your dodge with your triple jump, you can cover quite a wide area, which I'll just show you now. So if I sprint, and then 1, 2, 3, dodge, 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 and you can see we've covered quite a bit of distance already. But it's not about distance, that's really more in terms of actually dodging your enemies. And I'll show you in a second just how it all fits together. I'm just going to go and try and get in a fight. But you'll see as well with my Venom Bomb and Tempest Strike, they recharge quite quickly. And you'll notice as soon as they recharge, I'm looking to use them again. So that they're never really off cooldown. They're being used all the time. So that's the idea. In between that, whenever they're recharging, that's whenever you're using your gun. So your gun's almost what you use in between your gear. But with that in mind, let's go and find a fight so I can put it all together and show you how it works. Okay, so I've just come across a dungeon here in free play. And with that in mind, I'll show you the ultimate ability as well, which you turn invincible and you have a constant stream of melee attacks available to you. As you're invincible, it also becomes very handy for reviving your allies as well. But as we're by ourselves, I'll just see how far we can get. Off we go. Okay folks, and there we have it. Survived. But hopefully that'll give you a good idea of how the Interceptor works and how useful it can be, even on its own. It's just a matter of don't stand still. If you stand still, you become a sitting duck and a target. So just keep moving, keep jumping, keep dodging, and doing everything in between. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.